All right, guys, thanks very much. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Tony Baroni with us today. Appreciate you, Tony. So, Tony, you've been in real estate since 2005.
Yes,
You
sir.
have built a massive real estate business, now doing over 250 units, right? That equates to about 71 million in production, and most importantly, you're over 1.8 in GCI, gross commission income.
Correct.
That is awesome. Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
How's that journey been?
It's been interesting, fascinating, fascinating. Yeah, it's been tough. If someone told me it'd be this hard, I don't know if I would have done it. And
Yeah.
just to be honest, it's been that hard going through the worst market in history. But I love it, and I'm passionate about it, and I definitely would have done it. That was a joke, so I definitely would have done it. But yeah, it's been. I thought I was going to get a real estate license and open doors and go to the bank, and didn't happen like that.
Well, that's good to hear, right? And we appreciate you being real on that. This is not a business that it's all just fun times all the time, right? It's challenging business, right? We're entrepreneurs and we're out there and we're business owners and we need to run it like a business. So we appreciate
That's
your
right.
honesty there. So,
Yeah.
Tony, obviously, with the TV in the background, you got, yourself, Tom Brady, and you live in Tampa Bay. So was that by chance, or, I mean, the TV initials? Because we know you're from down, you didn't just go to Illinois State, you're from the Bloomington Normal area, right?
I'm from a small town, Joe, called Paris, Illinois.
Okay, got it. All right.
About three and a half hours south of Chicago.
Okay, cool. And tell us really quickly about your journey. Did in 2005 was when you got into real estate, was that your first job, or what did you do prior to?
Yeah, so I graduated from Illinois State in 2001, and then I moved to Tampa, and literally right after I graduated, and then from 2001 to 2005, I was a logistics consultant for Fortune 500 companies, where they'd hire me to kind of go in and figure out all their logistics from A to Z, and my goal was to save them $1 million a year for each account I had. And I did that for 4 years. And and then that was stressful. So real estate's nothing compared to the stress that created. I was getting woke up in the middle of the night, booking planes for freight, and it was pretty intense. Wow. So yeah, it's real estate does seem easy compared to that.
Was the stress what got you out of that business, Tony?
Totally. And, it wasn't my passion per se. I think I was pretty good at what I did, but, I was running everything from an office essentially, and none of that face-to-face interaction with clients. And I really missed that. And when I bought my first home, Joe, I discovered how much I loved the real estate process. And I thought, I think I can do this for a living. And that's basically what happened.
That was the story. You decided, hey, I can do this. I'm going to go make it happen, right?
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's right.
All right. So now if we fast forward to today, you're selling 250 homes, you and your team. It's a lot of homes, bud.
Yeah, we want it to be more,
So if anyone's out there looking to move to Tampa Bay, call Tony, right?
That's right.
Okay, cool. So you want it to be more. Let's talk about this quickly. So give us a little bit about your journey. So you were a solo agent?
Interesting. I was not. The day one, I partnered with 2 other people, and we formed a team. And we weren't with Keller Williams. We did a 100% type company at the time. And what we did was, I had my mortgage license, and so did another person on our team. And what we do is we do the loan, and then we'd help them buy a house all in one, was kind of our niche. And mainly A-paper clients, and we did that for about 1.5 years. My 2 partners basically were married, and they still are married, but basically they started investing in real estate, and I didn't really have the capital to do so. So overnight, pretty much when the market turned, they got caught with 10 properties, and they ended up needing to leave the business immediately. Long story short, but I basically let them borrow my life savings, which was probably not the smartest thing I've ever done. And 30 days later, they couldn't pay me, and they said, "We're moving to California, and good luck." And
Yeah,
that's
thanks,
how I
buddy.
found Keller Williams.
Appreciate that
What's
no
that?
interest free. I said I appreciate that no interest free loan for 30 days
Yep.
and no payback.
Yep. So that was, and we were I'd say we were pretty successful on the mortgage and real estate side. So it was very frustrating at the time. I was, newly married, and my wife told me, I need to go get a real job that pays, and she didn't want the risk of real estate. So then I applied for an ad with Keller Williams to join a team as a real estate assistant, and went and interviewed, and pretty short, he decided he wanted me in sales, and I became his listing agent, and we worked out like a next to nothing salary, so I could tell my wife I had a salary.
You had a salary.
Stay in the business.
Yeah, good. So you so you started with the team. Obviously, that imploded, right? And then you joined it.
I did. And I was on that team for 4 years.
Okay.
And at the time in Tampa Bay, they were the #1 team at that time, and I was mainly did listings on the team and replaced the Rainmaker as the listing agent, and did that for 4 years.
Okay. And then when did you part with that team?
Late 2010. End of 2010, we parted ways, and it was a lot of different stuff, but basically another partner in the company had retired, and it was just a transition time. And then ultimately the Rainmaker was coming back into the business doing listings. So, I just decided, it was a good time for me. And I think at the time too, there wasn't a lot of talk about create a big opportunity. And so no one ever leaves, that wasn't really, I think, an idea at that point. So, but I owe a lot to them. They were my mentors. They taught me really everything about the business, and I would not be where I am today without them.
That's awesome. So when you went on your own, Tony, did you say, "Hey, I'm going to build this from scratch by myself. I'm going to start a team, or I'm just going to do it myself"? What was the strategy at that point in time?
Yeah, so I grew up playing sports, Joe, and I know you're a big sports buff like me, but I love basketball, baseball, football. I'm a team guy. So it was completely foreign to me to ever be just by myself in real estate. So it took me about 3 months before I started hiring. I had to build up, a little bit of business, and then I started hiring immediately after 3 months. We just haven't stopped ever since then.
So Tony, the people that are going to be listening or on this call that are solo agents right now, right? It only took you 3 months before you started hiring. You know? So talk to us about that. Was that just something that you had planned out? If I'm a solo agent right now and saying, all right, I want to build this up. I want to be selling 250 units one day and having a massive real estate business. Is it 3 months that I start hiring, or what was the metric that you were keeping your eye on?
Yeah. Well, for me, one thing I specialized back then was short sales. So I was literally doing 3 or 4 listing appointments a day in my office. We were doing them in the office at the time. And I realized early on, I just couldn't service buyers because I was so busy on the listing side. Right. And in my area, I was definitely the short sale expert, where a lot of agents that didn't want to do short sales referred them to me. So I saw my path pretty easily. I was always focused on listings my whole career. So I decided early on that I went away from the MREA. I didn't necessarily follow it, but I said, I'm going to leverage my buyer's business immediately. So I hired a buyer specialist first, and really she didn't have any experience, but I went to her and said, hey, I think you should look into this for real estate. And so we joined forces, and we worked together for about 5 years, and she handled the whole buyer side.
Got it. So you just leverage that off. All right. Awesome.
Then we hired an assistant probably 6 months, maybe a few months after that.
Okay. So Tony, you hired a buyer's agent first. If you were to, obviously out of need, because you were going to concentrate with the short sales, you were concentrating on the listings. Would you recommend that? Would you do that again if you were to rebuild a team, or what would you tell people?
Yeah, I think the model really works well for the MRA model, which is, 2 admin first. We run a showing model, and I've been able to see all of the amazing stuff that's provided for our lead buyer specialist. And you've met Kate, Joe. Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she has 31 under contract right now, and that would not be possible if she didn't have an awesome showing specialist, and she also didn't have an awesome transaction coordinator that works hand in hand with her. So I would recommend maybe the showing model first. You want one admin without question, and then maybe a second admin, and then depending on when you want to start leveraging your business, I would then do a showing specialist.
What for the people that don't know, Tony, what is a showing specialist in your market?
Very simple. So they literally show properties, and they have a job with just on one hand. It's really show properties, create urgency, answer questions about the property, and be available when they want to go see them. Very simple. The lead agent or the buyer's agent does all the negotiating. They do anything with going to access the property at all, to let people in. They handle, and then the agent handles all negotiations completely.
Awesome. Great. So it's a system, right?
It's a system. Very much.
I think 9 out of 10 of us agents out there struggle with what's the system, right? Or what system's best for me. So,
well, here's what I've learned. People do not care who lets you in. They just want to go around their schedule. So if we're able to provide that, I had a guy call me this morning. He wanted to make an offer on a property. Called us randomly. He's like, I want this property. Will you guys make an offer? Within 15 minutes, we were able to submit the offer. So it's so much about availability more than anything else. And that's how our team designed it, at least. And clients seem to like it.
That's great. Tony, we've known each other a little bit, and we come from the same, it seems like we come from the same, cut from the same cloth here. So
sure.
I know you're a very positive person. You're obviously a very successful person. Can we talk about mindset for a second before we jump into the actual?
Absolutely.
All right. So you're a well-liked person. You're a businessman. You're doing all the right things. How do you approach your mindset, and why is mindset so important?
I mean, it's everything, right? I mean, I caught myself this morning. I usually have my morning routine. For whatever reason, I flipped on the TV and the news was on, and I watched it for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And I'm like, my gosh, this is why I don't start my day like this. It's like unemployment is the highest it's ever, since the Great Depression. Florida specifically has the highest unemployment one of the highest in the states. And then it went into, murders, and I'm just like, wow, like I don't need to be hearing that right now. Right. Yeah. So for me, it's just really, one of my favorite apps is an app called Blinkist. And it's basically a summary of books. Have you heard of that, Joe?
Yeah, I have it on my phone.
Yeah. So I start my day with that, with exercise. I have a Peloton. I kind of mix between Peloton and walks and bike rides outside. So, get your energy up. And ultimately, that's half the battle, right? It's just having a good mindset and being positive that we're able to help other people.
Tony, we've had a lot of top producers on this now. I mean, we've been doing these lunch and learns, I think, since March 17th or something, 18th.
Oh, wow.
Like yeah, we've been hitting them, right? So, and I will tell you, my observation, the consistency of what people have told us is one, not only mindset, but their morning routine, right? So, I mean, you just said it, right? Morning routine. Not only how important is it, but let's start here. When did you adapt a morning routine?
So it would have been back, on the team I was on. I mean, we really, we were the first ones there before light out. We'd show up to the office, and a lot of us were there until dark. I mean, it's just how it was at the time. You had to put that much time in to be able to help people, in my mind. So it just took extra work, and it was all about being present. I always tell my team, showing up is half the battle, always. without question.
Yeah.
And yeah, just showing up is really critical, and then try to get a schedule that works for you. We do a 9 o'clock huddle every day as a team, and we go through a script, and then we get into script and role play on Zoom, just like this.
Yep.
And we feed off each other. We talk about 3 things every meeting. It's, what challenges are you having?
Mm-hmm.
What went well yesterday? What were your wins? And then what's your plan for today? And then we go out and get after it, and then we jump on at the end. And not everyone jumps on at the end, but whoever's available will jump in, and we kind of catch them the next morning if not.
Got it. So your experience was, hey, you were on this team. They were like, hey, we're going to get in early, start your morning routine, start the same day. And basically, obviously, that is evolved for you into personal, right? Getting your set self personally, and then having your business routine as well.
Absolutely. Yep. It's just following a schedule. And, I was talking to my coach, this was probably a year ago, and he started laughing. I'm like, what's so funny? He's like, Tony, if people could just hear this conversation, like, I'm literally just trying to get you 1% better with your schedule today.
Yeah.
And it's these little tweaks that make all the difference, right? So I am like fixated about my schedule, trying to make it more productive. And how do I take more time off so I'm not working constantly? And to be honest, just like Gary Keller's been saying right now, I mean, I'm putting extra hours in right now because it's required as a leader.
Right.
Because there's a lot of uncertainty for our clients, for our team members. It's just a lot more work.
Right.
And you've got to show up, and you also have to have personal time too. So whether that's a bike ride, we got a puppy about 6 months ago. I take him on walks, every evening, and you've got to clear your head too, and it can't be all real estate. And one thing I've done successfully, I've always taken Sunday off. It's been my deal forever. Like, I will not go on an appointment on Sunday. Now, I field calls and I'm busy and stuff, but I don't go on a physical appointments on Sundays. And that's worked for me.
So you will have the remote control of your life next to you on Sunday, right?
Yes.
Just saying, hey, whatever, but so you're available. But you have always said, so that limited belief of, I have to be available, I have to do this on Sundays, I have to be available for my clients. You have conquered that. You have said, nope, I'm not available on Sundays. What if somebody needs to see a house on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, we're somewhat unique, Joe. It's been built over time. I want to be very transparent. I worked my butt off to get where I am. So, ultimately, we've created an ISA department. We have people on call at nights and weekends. And like last night, it was Anne Marie, which Anne Marie. It was her husband's birthday, so she's like, hey, Tony, I really want to, have drinks with him on the patio and get some takeout. So she's like, will you cover for me? I'm like, sure. So, I'm not above anything. I would never ask anyone on my team to do anything I haven't done ever. Okay. So we very much work together and make sure, but my deal is Sunday, I just don't go on appointments. That does not mean that I'm not on the phone a lot, because you can ask my wife. She gets pretty frustrated about that at times, and she's in the business.
Is she? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. She's our director of operations. So.
All right. So Tony, was she on the call with you and I, or no? She wasn't there, right?
She was just in the background.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, so, Tony, you said, hey, I've worked my butt off to get where I am today. What does that mean? What did you, how would you say to somebody as working my butt off to get to where I am today? Like, what is the meaning of that?
Yeah. I mean, for me, what it looked like, Joe, was 100 expireds a day. I would call every single day, like literally every day. And this was before the Sunday gig, right? That happened in like 2009. I decided I had enough business that I could take a day off. But my deal was 100 expireds a day. And then the way I looked at it, Joe, was at closing, if I could get my client to give me a referral or 2 or 3 names, then I'd give my day, I'd give the next day off from calling expireds. So I got really purposeful with something. We used the promise. as a team, and we're setting those expectations day one of, we're going to deliver an amazing customer experience to you. In fact, we want it to be the best you've ever had. And at the end of this, we're going to ask for a review from you. And the way we get feedback is through that review. So we want to know if we delivered the promise to you in a 5-star experience. Will you be willing to do that, Joe? And they'll say, well, yeah, if you do a good job for me, but not unless you do a good job. I said, well, of course, it's only if we do the best job you've ever imagined when we ask you to do that. And then the other thing is, Joe, between today and closing, I want you so thrilled with our service that you're compelled to give me a referral to someone else that has real estate needs, because that is our whole goal. And that's the promise. Are you willing to do those two things, Joe? And they'll tell you, yes. If they're 85 years old, they may say, oh, I'm not going to do online reviews. And you say, okay, no problem. Would you really focus on the referral side? And then we track that as a team. And we want to get reviews 70% of the time on at least one website. We're now at 1,200 5-star reviews online. Ooh. And with this strategy, very simple strategy. And then our referrals are up 12% in the past 12 months from just asking people for business. And, being authentic about it, not making it weird, but, just saying, hey, I want to be that resource for not only you, but your friends and family. Yeah, coworkers.
Tony, have you implemented the promise? And we're going to spend a little bit of time on this for a second, and then we'll go to the topic. But did you implement the process 12 months ago, or was it always?
It was January 2018.
Okay, January 2018. And to give people some clarity, the promise is you make a promise to your clients that you're going to give them 5-star service. Is this promise verbal or written?
It's actually built into our presentation. So we bring it, so we have to bring it up. We don't put it in writing, but we talk about it and we visually show it to them when we're presenting a buyer consultation or listing appointment. It's actually the very first thing the very first page is the promise.
You're leading with the promise. Hey, Tony, I'm going to give you 5-star service. And in return, right, I'm going to ask you, if we deliver this promise to you, I'm going to ask you for a referral or is it just a referral and a review?
Both.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're just saying, like, if me and you sat down, thanks for inviting me out. I don't know if you know this, Joe, but there's about 12,000 agents that sell right here. And so for me to be sitting here with you, or virtually, right? Like we're doing it virtually right now, it's an honor, and we want to say thank you for the opportunity. So is it okay if we go over what our team's all about, Joe?
Right. That's awesome.
And then we'll go, our whole team, our whole mission is to deliver the promise to you. Is it okay if I share with what that is? And they'll say yes. And then we want to deliver you the best experience you've ever imagined, you could ever imagine receiving, is what we say.
And then at the end, you have basically asked them, did we live up to that, right?
Yes. Did we live up to it? And then we track, and at the end, we're at closing, Joe. You didn't give me a referral, okay? Yeah. And we still go to our closings because we see it as a great opportunity to connect with our clients. So that's becoming really hard, but we're still doing it. So Joe, let me ask you this. I don't see that we actually earned a referral during this process. So I just wanted to double check we didn't miss something on our end. Did we actually get a referral from you from when we met to today?
Okay. And if I actually know, Tony, you know what? I actually forgot about it.
Okay, no worries. Hey, I know everyone's not just thinking about getting me referrals all the time. So I wanted to just track that. It's something we track on our end. And was there any reason, well, let me just ask you this. Were you, on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, what would you rate us as far as delivering the promise to you?
Tony, you guys were communicative. You guys were responsive. You were helpful. I mean, I honestly would say I would give you a 10. You guys did a great job.
Okay. Okay. So he says 10. If he says 8, 9, 7, what would have made it a 10? And then then it goes to 2 categories: reasonable, unreasonable. Was it something with the title company, lender, whatever, or was it something we failed, right? And then we'll immediately acknowledge that And then I'm going to say, Joe, so I just wanted to make sure you're still okay with fulfilling the promise on your end. And after this, we're going to send you links. I know you're moving and stuff. It's crazy right now for you, but I'm going to go ahead and email those to you now, right from my iPad here. And do you think you could do those reviews in the next week or two?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely, Tony. I'd be happy to help you out.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow up with you in 2 weeks and just make sure you got my email and check in on you guys, see how everything's going. Okay, so I'll call you in 2 weeks.
Awesome. That sounds great.
And on the referral, Joe, I don't want you to feel bad about it. It's no big deal. All we want to do is be a resource for you, for everyone you know with their real estate needs in the future. So let's extend that for 6 months. And if you're able to put me in contact with someone, it's really important to get name, number, and permission to call. My preference is to do a 3-way text between us so we can make sure we take care of them.
Nice.
Would you be willing to do that?
Yes, I would be willing to do that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Man, that is awesome, Tony. That is great. So, Tony, let me ask you. I know that we come, in our world, we come from contribution, right? We're all learning together. We're all in this together, right? That's really kind of, that's genius. Did you come up with that?
I did not at all. So a guy named Mike Hicks out of Idaho, Falls, Idaho, came up with the promise. And I learned that at Mega Camp 2017.
Right.
And then we said, this is it, because Joe, we were already doing, I think at the time we had 800 or 900 5-star reviews. So what I realized is this process, we were already doing it, but just reviews. And then as a leader, I had failed my team and I was leveraging more business to them that I'd never trained them how to get referrals. So I'm like, what can I build? So all we did was take Mike Hicks referrals and we added our reviews to it. Is essentially what we did. And it's been an awesome ride. We lost some people when we initially did it. They're like, I don't feel comfortable saying that. We're like, okay, no worries.
Yeah, sure.
And now it becomes part of our team. Like we tell them, just like a seller, we sit down with recruits and we say, this is what we're all about. Are you in?
Yeah.
And some people, probably not my thing. Okay, great. So at least you figure that out fast. And now we've had very little turnover since then, because I feel like people that want to join our team know what we're all about, and they just want to jump on board with it.
That's awesome. So Tony, it's fair to say that, hey, it's okay. You don't have to come up with all these great ideas yourself, right? You can steal from other people and
R&D, baby.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I love it.
It's a beautiful thing.
All right. So I know that you're a marketing wizard and you guys are doing some big time transactions and stuff with your marketing plan. You've pivoted a little bit. You've implemented something new. Is that right?
We have. Yeah, we have.
And it's the giveaways.
The giveaways. Yes. So, we're actually doing one today. So it's been crazy today. So we think of, I'll explain it, Joe, how we do it. So basically think of, for those that have taken bold, think of a bold 100, but we call it a reverse bold 100. And essentially what we're doing is trying to get 100 people to call in one day to us. Okay. And think of a radio show where they say the 7th caller wins a pair of tickets to Pearl Jam. And you're like, Joe and I were like, I'm calling, right? I'm in. So that's the concept, but you want a prize that's compelling for people to call. And today, just for example, we're doing a Dyson supersonic dryer, which is a $400 dryer that I guess women love.
Yeah, hair dryer, right?
Love. Yeah. Your hair's getting long. You might want to call in, Joe.
I might need me calling in.
You're gonna like it. So people call in, and they basically, when they call in, we have a contest hotline that we've created, and it's actually an English accent because I like English accents, and it's like, thanks for calling the Tony Baroni Team Contest.
Okay.
And then it rings to our team. We have 4 people manning phones. We have shifts today of people So not everyone's doing it all day. We have 2 members doing it all day, 2 team members. I took a morning shift. I don't know how many, I have my sheets here. I mean, I've talked to like 20 people today that have just, I've answered the phone, right? So we get name, address, mailing address, best phone number, best email. If they're already in our database, for example, if Joe called in, I'd say, okay, tell me your first and last name. You'd say Joe Zimmerman. I'd type it into our database, make sure you're in there. If you're not in there, I'm going to put it on a sheet. I'll just show you guys what it looks like. We call it a communication form, and it just has address, all the information I just gave you. And then we just say, you know, we small talk and just say, you know, how's it going? You do anything for Mother's Day?
Sure.
We're happy to get you registered. Just so you know, Joe, we're doing the drawing tomorrow morning. We'll have the winner announced by noon tomorrow. And wanted to let you know our next one is June 19th. We're actually doing a fishing charter for Father's Day. So mark that on your calendar. The same number you called today. And you know, in fact, Joe, just program it in your phone, because you're going to be calling in to win these prizes. And I hope you're the big winner today, Joe. And you're just chatting with people. And, you know, it's pretty cool from my seat too, because I'm hearing all these amazing stories about team members. You guys were so amazing on this and blah, blah, blah. So it's just a good, I think it's fun, and we're just doing it for our clients. And this is about the 4th month we've done it.
That's awesome. So before we get into some of the numbers on that, as far as some color around it, are these people, do they know you? Is this going to your database? Is this going to non-Mets and Mets? Who's this going to, Tony?
So it's funny, when I first launched this, the idea was really, and everyone can probably relate to this. Who do you know? Like, think of your teacher, your kids' teachers, just for example, if you have kids. Are they in your database? I coach baseball. Are all the baseball families that I've coached their kids for all these years, are they in my database? Well, for me, essentially, hardly any of them were. And I'm like, I only have like past clients in there, which is so stupid because, you know, I don't know. I just never got it in, right? It's really on me. So I use these contests for, at the beginning, the first 2, I just did everyone that's not in my database.
Okay.
And I'd shoot them a text. I have a lot of emojis in it, you know, so it gets their attention. And then we create a flyer, which I can send you all this too, Joe, if people are interested.
That'd be great.
And I do a back-to-back text all in one and say, call in to win today. And, you know, we've added tons of people to our database. I just got a $560,000 listing from another baseball coach neighbor that it's entirely from this contest that I didn't have him in my database, you know.
Awesome. That's what I was going to ask you next, Tony. Is so obviously it's working. If you already essentially paid for it. You know, you've already made almost $13,000 from that listing when it sells, right?
Yep, correct.
I know the contest doesn't cost $13,000, right? You said the hairdryer costs $400.
Yeah, 400, and that's the highest we've done is actually this dryer. It's 400.
All right. So that the ROI is there and it makes sense, right?
Yes.
Are you coming up with these ideas? Are you coming up with this stuff? Is your team doing it? How does, if someone is out there, are they saying like, and they want to do that, where do they get started?
So, you know, just like I R&D'd Mike Hicks, I R&D'd my coach. My coach is a guy named Jordan Freed with MAPS coaching. And he came up with this concept and he's like, Tony, you've got to do it. I think you'll do really well with this. We're very high percentage as far as 65% of our business comes from our relationships basically. And he's like, do me a favor and please try it. And it took me a few months before I pulled it off. So it's really, he came up with the idea and we've implemented it. We've done a lot of different, this is our 4th one now.
That's awesome. Sorry, my son was dribbling his basketball, so I had to put it on.
No worries. I know how that goes.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So Alex here in the chat room just asked, what is your follow-up plan to the people calling in?
Yeah, so I'd be lying if I said we had a follow-up plan specific to this contest. We now do a newsletter, and we were doing it quarterly to promote this. And then we realized with the pandemic, we need to probably get people newsletters more frequently. So we've invested into doing that monthly. And on the front page, we have our giveaway portion. I'll send you guys our newsletter and you can see it.
Okay.
But it's always on the front page. And then the next one's in the newsletter as well, promoting the next one. And then it's really just a matter of who wants to participate. But the follow-up system is prior to. So all day, if I haven't been on the phone, I've been texting people I know, seeing if they want to enter this. We were supposed to do a group text today and it failed, just to be honest. So some of the stuff you've got to deal with, and we don't know why, and we're looking into that. So I got with my team on Zoom just like this and said, hey, all hands on deck. Our goal is to do 200 today. So just start texting everyone you know and get them to call in. And it's been, I think I don't know for sure yet, but I think it's going to be our best one yet.
Really, it is. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect timing, right? Hair dryer, Mother's Day, obviously the intention. So it's good. So
yeah,
Tony.
So Alex, to answer your question, we don't have a follow-up plan because we just don't have the time to. We're doing our next one. As soon as this stops, we're going to start promoting the next one on June 19th for Father's Day. So, we don't really, people that want to participate. If they don't, that's okay. Whatever they want to do.
But, Tony, what I'm hearing you say is you have a framework, right? You have a strategy, you have a system in play and plan, but it's not all figured out, right? I mean, it's like, so you're going at it, but you're doing the activity, right? So you're not being paralyzed by saying, oh, it needs to be perfect, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just got off the phone with a seller that she's kind of, I don't know, been on me about, we haven't had a lot of showings on her listing. It's a higher price range, a luxury listing. And, I called her about something else and she's like, oh, I just entered the contest. Man, I'm so excited. I hope I win. And I'm trying to talk to her about business. And she just kept talking about, oh yeah, for Mother's Day, my mom's coming here. And by the way, next week, let's get together. And, it just really lightens the load of stress. And you could tell she really appreciated it. Right. And, people like to win stuff. They just do.
How do you announce who wins when they do win?
Yeah. So I've done a couple different things. I use my dog, I don't know if you've seen my videos, Joe, but they're really stupid, but my dog talks.
Obviously they work.
Yeah, if you go to Facebook and go to Tony Baroni team and like us on there, I have some dog videos where my dog talks, and I've had him announce winners. I've done it live, drawings. We mix it up all the time, so I don't even know how I'm going to announce it tomorrow. I'll decide. I might jump in my pool and do something silly, but try to make it fun.
Awesome. Is the platform that you're doing most of this on social media, Tony?
Yes, we promote on social media, but then our newsletter is probably it's actually the number one reason people call in is they said they saw it in our newsletter.
Okay.
And we write our newsletter 100% organic, and I'll share that with you guys so you can share it out to everyone on this.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, Tony, I would love for you to share that stuff with us, and I'll get it out to everyone. I appreciate you. All right, so Tony, we got about 5 minutes left. So you've given us some great examples, right? You've given us your strategy. You have some systems in place. You have mindset. So if I'm either a newer agent or if I'm an agent that's on a team or is starting a team, right? Or I'm just a veteran agent, right? Then I'm really struggling with the business, and I'm especially struggling right now. What is Tony Baroni, the guy who's lived through it and seen and had some great experiences? What advice is he going to give me?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, it's mindset, but then the second is consistency and contact. So you've got to have a strategy, right? Like no strategy is not a strategy, right? You have to have, what are you doing every day? What time is your work schedule? How do you put that on a calendar? How do you motivate yourself to make your calls? The best script we're using is the simple, how are you? How's the family? Is there anything we can do to help you right now? And we're calling everyone we know with that script. Obviously, we've set up this this contest to have a conversation piece as well for anyone you know, right? I can run into someone at a restaurant and we connect, and I'm like, hey, you know what? New leads today. I've gotten a bunch of new leads this morning. A couple I took personally. I sent them the contest immediately. You know, it just sets you apart from everyone else. So it's just showing up, contacts per day. So set your contacts. Like if you're taking bold pivot right now, it's 40 a day.
Yeah.
And that's hard. I mean, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
And you got to decide, you just got to start somewhere. Maybe it's 2 Facebook messages on someone's page. It's 2 private messages, and then 5 text messages, 5 calls. Just do something.
Yep. I love that you say you have to start somewhere, right? Just get started. You know, don't beat yourself. That's what I would tell people too, right, Tony, is don't beat yourself up over it. Just, you know, get something started, right?
Yes.
You use the word consistency, which I love. Okay. So if somebody how consistent do they need to be? And do they need to be every single day? Do they need to do this? What if they're burnt out and they need a day off? Should they be beat up about that? How consistent is Tony Baroni?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's my best skill. You know, I'm consistent. I love what I do. I'd call myself a workaholic. I just love what I do so much that I have to schedule the other time, because I'll just, like, working from home for me is not good. Like, I work more because once the kids go to bed, I get my laptop back out and start going to work. So, you know, just set it up in your schedule, your perfect schedule, and then start trying to follow it and give yourself some grace, knowing that you won't follow it to a T at first, but every day you can get a little bit better. There's an app called, what's it called? 100 Day. I just downloaded it recently.
Another tool you use. Love it.
Don't break the chain.
Don't break the chain.
It's a free app, you know, and you can do a 100-day challenge on there. I think you can customize it to however many days you want, 66 days if we go by the one thing, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, right now I'm doing push-ups per day, which I hate doing, but every day it's popping up. You didn't do your push-ups yet. And I'm like,
reminding, right? Holding you accountable.
Like, I'm going to delete this app.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. I'll turn it off. Hey, Tony, for you, does it help? I'm doing a challenge. I'm actually just stumbled into a challenge because we were at stay at home, right? And a bunch of guys I know, I bike together, right? So we've been setting up a Zoom in the morning and, you know, setting up on our trainers and biking together every day. And all of a sudden I looked up this morning and we're on day 46 of just biking together.
Wow. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's wild, right? Just compounds right away. So is accountability pretty important?
Absolutely, it is. So, you know, if you don't have a coach, get an accountability partner or get a coach, and they're going to make you so much better. And I did that in 2013, and that's really helped me. Like, I didn't know what to do next, and I got some guidance, and I'm also coachable, so that's helped.
Right, that helped. Tony, we've we hang in the same sphere of people, and we're fortunate enough to be coached by Gary Keller, right, and being in his mastermind. When you see all these people are succeeding at a high level, what's the one attribute that they all have in your eyes?
The one attribute, I'd say positivity would probably be the number one thing. You know, just half full instead of half empty. And
they can do it, right?
Yeah, they just believe in themselves. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can't thank you enough for your time. I know you're busy and you got this phone-a-thon coming in. So we appreciate you being here with us.
Yeah, man.
When people want to refer the Tony Baroni team to Tampa Bay, and we know that you're the real TB in Tampa Bay still, buddy. So how did they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so, you know, we're in all of Tampa Bay. It includes St. Pete, Clearwater, all of Tampa Bay suburbs, Lakeland. We have an office in Orlando as well. So let us know. We're south to Sarasota, all of Tampa Bay, east to Orlando. It's 909-3444. You can, I mean, people, whatever's best for you, really. I mean, I'm not hard to find. So referral at Tony Baroni if you have a referral for us and want to email it over, or Kelly at, whatever's best.
Cool. Tony, appreciate you, bud, man. I'm super grateful for you. Thanks very much.
Yep.
Good luck
Same
today.
here, Joe.
Good luck today, and have a great weekend. All right. Stay safe.
Yep.
Thanks for everyone that joined. Thanks for everyone that's listening in. We'll be back at it at Monday. Cheers, guys. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.